Thank you. My father transitioned a year ago, and I've got a question about the non-physical and my inner self. But I've got a story to say before. Well, when he died, I was responsible of sorting all his documents and all that. And I found that he had bought a land in Bahamas, but he had not paid it all in 1977. And he never spoke about that to no one. No one knew about that, but I saw the documents. And so I just left that, and then I meditate every morning, and I started to feel his vibration. It was clearer and clearer. And sometimes he would show me that document, and I could feel that I had something to do with that. And the land was on a very small island in Bahamas that is called San Salvador. And for me to go from Montreal to that island, it was like very complicated. But anyways, I felt that I needed to go there. And one morning, he really showed me, like, it wasn't the vibration, and I could see that I would be laughing. He was laughing his head out. I mean, he was just laughing. And my father had a very unique tone. He was a singer, and he had like this voice. I just loved his voice. And he had like a very solid voice. And anyway, so I could hear him. And this morning I told my husband, we're going to Bahamas. We're going to go there. There's a Club Med. We're going to stay there, and I'll bring the documents. As soon as I got there, everything was just synced up. I mean, I spoke with a lady at the restaurant, and I told her, like, my father had those documents, and she says, oh yeah, I know the owner. You should go to that greenhouse and talk to him about that. And then I went there, and he told me to go there and whatever. And now I have a land in Bahamas. I'm going there next week. And when I met the owner, he laughed, and he was laughing just like my father. And I want to know, like, you know, the step one, is this my father's step one that is now into my vortex? Like,
there's so much that we want to say about that. But first, we want to say this to all of you, because this is your story's gift to anyone who gets to listen to this story. It's easy for you to accept that her father moved ahead on something and set something in motion that was unbeknownst to her. It's easy to accept that. And it's easy to accept that her father is behind calling her to that. So you all followed her story all the way through. In other words, you could feel, we're going to go back and get that word we don't like very much, but it applies here. You could feel the destiny for her unfolding of all of this. And we want you to understand that you are, through the life that you are living, through the step one that you are living, you are creating those powerful future manifestations, even though you claim you don't even know about it. In the way that none of you knew that that land had been purchased, you all have a vortexual reality that you're not staking claim to, because you put it there so incrementally you don't even know what it's grown to. Are you following us?
Mm-hmm. But I did want it to have a house, like a waterfront house. I didn't know it was going to be there.
We're going to come back to that, but there's a bigger thing for all of you in this story, and that is you all have treasures and inheritances that you have put into your vibrational reality. You don't need your father to have done it for you. You've put it into your vibrational reality, some of it even before you got here, and a lot of it ever since, and it has amassed to things that it's time for you to find the deed to it. It's time for you to follow the trail to it. It's time for you to have the experience of it. That's the real power of this story. you see. And in the more literal sense, and what you're reaching for, your father purchased that thinking about you. He put that into your future, not talking about it because he had this wisdom of knowing not to talk about things that could not be manifested yet. And he did not want it to be something that brought forth competition or brought forth struggle or brought forth angst. And there was one small little particle of that in your conversation with us when you said it was quite complicated for me to get from Montreal to there. He didn't want anybody shooting themselves in the foot over this until it was time to be received in the way that he always dreamed for it to be. And yes, he was calling you every step of the way. And that's who your inner being really is. Everyone that you've known and loved, and there have been so many who have known you and who have loved you who are non-physical. You have ancestors who love you now that you never met. There are teachers and creators that are now non-physically focused that have all converged with your inner being and are rooting for you. They're your backup system and they're calling you forward, you see. Don't take away from this story that you need to dig through drawers and find papers. Because that is not the power of this story. You've got vibrational papers. Every one of you have treasures that are waiting for you to be called in exactly the way that she was called into this manifestation. Yes.
And I get it that I always that to receive those inspiration, I need to be in alignment, and I get all this. But sometimes it's so clear, and sometimes, synchronicity.
So we want to talk about that. This vortex is gestated, and it's calling to you. And you being in the receiving mode and then getting into that sweet spot where that magic begins. It's not magic, but it sure feels like it as it is unfolding. So you follow, you've had those experiences where just one thing after another, after another, after another, after another, and you just can feel the blessedness of your being. You can just feel how cared for you are being. And you can also feel a worthiness because you know that if it were not for your alignment, that it would not be happening in that way. So start there with that thought and just rest in that thought for just a moment. And then we want you to acknowledge that finding those papers caused you to focus with more clarity and confidence than you ordinarily would. But you don't have to find papers to find that confidence. And the universe will respond and give you that magic, whether you have documentation from a previous generation or not. We really want you to feel that. Now, it was easier for you in that way. So the momentum was easy. It's like priming the pump. Do you know what that means? Esther's been using that expression, and she was using it with her grandchildren the other day. And her daughter said, I don't think Kate and Luke understand what a pump to be primed even is. And Esther said, probably not. So when you have a pump that's pumping water out of the ground, you have to get the water to begin to come before the pump will kick in and keep it going. And once it has established that, it will keep going. But if it loses that, then you've got to prime the pump again, which usually means somebody has to suck on something. So it's like siphoning gasoline from your neighbor's car. What does it take to prime the pump? Well, in this case, something led to something led to something. But once you found that, there was more momentum. And once you believed in that momentum, then in the absence of resistance, you were just led and led and led and led and led. What we're really saying to you is you don't need a physical person to have gone before you and pre-paved your trail, because the non-physicals like us have gone before and pre-paved your trail. And when you hook into a little of that with belief and expectation, then more and more and more and more is realized by you. We don't use the word revealed to you as in now it will be revealed to you, because it has been being revealed to you all along. But there's a difference between the revelation of it, which is constant, and your realization of the revelation, which is your tuning in so that you can see it. So now, we selfishly used your story to help everyone understand how it all works. Is there something specific that you want that we have not given you yet about that?
Yes, I was wondering about non-physical, because in 2009, my grandfather passed. That's the first time that I had he's the one that made me open up to the energy and to the vibrations, and I had
to the bigger picture.
Yeah, and I had frequent connections with him. And then
because you are in a frequency where you can realize him.
Okay. But now I feel that he's less present and it's more my father. And I was wondering,
because they've blended together and you cannot tell one from the other. And what difference does it make?
No, it makes no difference.
When Jerry made his transition, Esther's longtime friend and lover and husband and everything, when he made his transition, Esther did not want him to become part of the Abraham soup. Keep him out separate. Keep him out separate so that I can continue to enjoy him as I enjoyed him. But he merged. He's blended. He's still uniquely who he is, but he's so much more powerful and so much more joyful as part of the powerful whole, you see. It's always that way. You'll do it too.
And sometimes I do connect with celebrities' energy, like Maya Angelou when she passed. It's not someone that I knew really, and I did connect with her energy, and I was giving a speech, and I felt that I was I don't know, I could feel her energy within myself, if she was helping me out with the speech I was giving. And the same thing happened with René Angélil, which is Céline Dion's husband that died, and I really didn't I wasn't into his stuff, I wasn't following him, and I wasn't, but it happened too. And I was wondering, what I had as a message was if we were all working for humanity and connecting humanity together, and I just wanted to validate that.
Yes, but not because humanity needs it,
no,
but because humanity wants it. Because in harmony, there is not just more power. In harmony, there is love and alignment. Alignment is what we are all reaching for all the time. When you know for sure that you have this non-physical energy aware of you and loving you and knowing all things about you, not only who you are, where you are, but what you have created vibrationally and what your future unfolding in terms of manifestations are. Don't you want to find harmony with that knowing so that you can know it too?
Yeah.
Not as an outside mentor who is bossing you around like your parents wanted to, but as an inside mentor who is just calling you to the fullness of who you are. That's what it's like.
Thank you.
Yeah, really good.